Hello, everyone. This is Ivy with another Sunday edition of Beyond the Niche podcast, where we talk about things that only us over 45-year-olds understand. Okay, and so sorry for the late entry point. We were having some traffic issues. Still don't matter. But let me tell y'all. So we're going to jump completely over Grind Your Gears because Grind Your Gears was probably have me flipping a chair outside of this window. So maybe when I calm down by the next show, I'll go into Grind Your Gears. So today we're going to jump right into our topic because our topic is very, very interesting, and it deals with celebrity. Y'all know I typically stay away from celebrity business because it ain't my business, but we're going to talk about that. But before we do, I like to give a shout out to Booked, our Facebook social media book club, where we discuss books, what we're reading, book topics, and some of the trending things come from the book space, the online book community. And that will be brought to you by the Sweet Kitty Club. It is an all natural, handmade, homemade I lost my train of thought. Company that specialize in things like soaps, body oils, even bee steams that men can use too, and other great products such as journals and merchandise. Head on over to sweetkittyclub.com and learn more. So that's going to be our sponsor for Booked, our Facebook, and that's b.o.o.k.e.d. booked on Facebook. So what I just finished reading was a book called Memphis. It's not a recent release, but it's a continuation of a book called Lilith. As many people know, or some people are finding out, I love a good assassin book genre topic. I love a good killing book, not for techniques or anything like that, just for the psyche of a killer and how they kind of move about and do the things that they do. It's very interesting to me. So Memphis is a continuation of a book by Alexandria House. It was really good. Don't know what my next book is going to be. There are a lot on my TBR between Audible and between Kindle Unlimited that I plan on reading. But that's what I just finished. And as you guys know, our voice in the sky is none other than the Madam of Media. And that is Madam Montana. She is the owner and proprietor of both Sweet Kitty Club and the After Party. And Montana, she is the co-founder of Booked. Rather, she is the founder. I am the co-founder of Booked because that's her brainchild. And I was just like, let's go. And so Montana, what are you reading this week, or what did you just finish?
I just finished Summer in Miami by C. Wilson.
What did you think? I liked that book.
I like the book too, although I will tell you, I almost told you stop. Don't suggest me books like that, only because, but I had to think about it. Like I said, I had to think about it. I am about to come on the 1 year anniversary of my dad's death.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And reading that book, at the end, it was so similar, just basically how they had to watch her die. I hate to give away the story, but and that is in life, that is really the hardest thing. But I did get through the book, and I said, well, and the reason why I didn't say, Ivy, don't send me books like this no more, is only because I felt like that is kind of a part of my healing. Yeah. To be able to get through, allow someone else to tell their story and not it be about me. Yeah. And so that's just kind of what that was for me. Girl, don't make this about you. This is their story. And even though, you can see some similarities that will, allow you to have the empathy, you don't have to take this pain, because it was a tearjerker. I mean, it was a little sad. So. Yeah,
it was a really good book. It wasn't my saddest read. My saddest read was Honor and Honor Part 2. By Kelz Kimberly, Kelz Kimberly. That was the saddest book that I've ever cried reading. That book is amazing. It's not on Audible. I hope she does release all 4 books. It's a part of the Graveheart series, and I hope that she does release it on Audible. But that book is everything to me, and I cried. The main character, Honor, he lives up to his name. Just know that in that book. But anyway, so I don't know. Do you have your next read?
I'm reading. Girl, it was on the tip of my tongue. A killer something. I'm gonna tell you. Hold on. Crazy title, actually.
I would have never recommended
that. Name of the book. I gave my heart to a killer in New Jersey.
Listen, is he an assassin?
Something like that.
Well, I will be reading it then, because I love my assassins. Okay,
it's one of the freebies. So every week you send me the link
for the freebies.
Yes, and that one, was a freebie. So if it's free, I'll give it a try.
Yes, I, on the other hand, she wrote me into Housewife Confession or something like that. That was actually pretty good with the unnecessary book in between. But I'm gonna give that one a try. Nothing like a good killer for me. I like a good killer.
You like a good
but
killer.
Y'all, so speaking of killers, he's not a killer, but he's been killing the DJ VJ scene for years. Big Tigger got himself into some BS behind his hopefully soon to be ex-wife.
Hopefully.
So he got arrested on some allegations that he was physically abusing his wife, and over a cell phone that he was trying to get out of her possession. Come to find out, as she was leaving Atlanta, I believe he's in Atlanta, right, Montana? Mm-hmm. He was leaving. She got stopped in Maryland, and find out that she has a previous warrant on kidnapping her now 17-year-old daughter. So she was leaving Georgia with this is Big Tigger's first child, 2-year-old son, and she has other kids from other relationships or relationship. I don't know how many children, fathers she has collected. And so I
think the kid she has with Tigger is her third.
So she may have 2 or 3, which doesn't matter. I mean, that's not my business. But one of the dads did file kidnapping charges against her 17-year-old daughter, who hasn't been seen with her in a while. So
since 2019,
and there's no way of knowing where. Well, he says the dad says he knows where the child is.
Oh, really? So he knows where the kid is?
He says that he knows where the child is. The kidnapping was for him to get custody, or at least his family to get custody of his child.
So I know he said that he does not think that that he knows that the child is alive, mm-hmm. but I didn't know he knew where the kid was.
Yes, it was something, and with social media, you really can't trust all the information that comes out with social media, right? Mm-hmm. And so I believe that maybe he do, maybe he don't, maybe he's just one of those guys like, hey, let's get the attention up off of me, because it was something, and correct me if I'm wrong, Montana, again, there's so many little clips, people saying this, it became a headache for me, where people are saying that he's in jail and he wasn't in her life anyway. Mm-hmm. So why would she want to send the child to him? This, that, and the third. I know that in some states, especially the state of Texas, if a parent is incarcerated, the grandparents have a right to issue a court order for visitations and sometimes for the child to live. I know that personally from personal experiences, what happened with my granddaughter, Mm-hmm. So I know that is involved in the state of Texas, and I know that sometimes Georgia and Texas mirror each other's laws, right? Because they're both Republican red states. And so he says that he does know where his daughter is, but again, it's social media. So many people are saying this, that, and the third. It could just be one of those ploys to just kind of dilute the truth of the information, Mm-hmm. But that's where the obligation, we kind of talked about obligations and what is an obligation as a step parent. And for Tigger, he's 50 plus years old. He's been very successful that we know of not having any children out of wedlock, not having any little, jump off multiple children running around like Stefan Diggs. You know what I'm saying? He's been pretty good with protecting himself and making sure that he doesn't create broken homes, right? But he dated a woman with children. Now, did he know about the daughter? That I don't know. Has it been anything released, Montana, that he knows about her first child or her daughter, should I say? Because I don't know if it's the first or the second.
Here's my thing, okay? I don't see how he could not know it.
Okay.
Because I just want to point out a couple of things. One, this daughter that has been missing since 2019. Mm-hmm. This is the second time that we are, hearing something about her. The first time was, I believe, in 2013. Tiffany went to the casino and left her in the car
girl
for 8 hours.
That made national news.
That made national news. So even if my whole thing is, and I know a lot of people are like, oh, Tigger, because we grew up on Tigger.
We grew up on Tigger the dude. We love Tigger.
We grew up on Tigger. Everybody loved Tigger. We always wanted to go to the basement.
Yes.
Okay. But here is the thing. And I know some people say, well, this doesn't matter. There is a 16-year age gap between the two of them. He is 53 years old. He is very much should be, a conscious person. Okay.
I agree.
A Google search. If I'm meeting
your
somebody,
lawyers at the you got access
don't you
to
have
a legal team
in your camp. Now he may not have a camp.
He might not, because he old enough to be like, I've been there, done that. I needed that in my 20s and 30s.
Because I don't know if his career is that where he has to have a camp, but I'm sure he has some kind of assistant,
homegirl,
his sister,
his cousin, his sister, his mama, if she's still around.
Even forget all of them. I'm putting it on him. Okay,
right.
All he had to do, Ivy, was Google her name.
You're right.
Then he would have known what he needed to know. So I don't believe he did not know this kid was missing. I believe that Tiffany told him whatever I said Tiffany, Lord. What's her name? Alicia. I'm sorry. Yeah. Alicia told him whatever she wanted to tell him. And
he went with it.
And he ran with it.
He ran with it because he, like you said, he may have had that midlife crisis thing going on. I'm older. I ain't never really been in a strong, committed relationship. He may have been experiencing a lot of firsts. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And here's this PYT, because she's a pretty young lady, Here's this PYT. Well, she's not ugly.
Well, I'm saying he got a PYT.
Right, she got a crazy young thing, a CYT,
bouquet of red flags.
Yes, he did. But just like men say women have low self-esteem, there are more men that have low self-esteem than women. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because their low self-esteem usually come from their center. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Their center. And whereas women tends to deal with, I don't know what, I don't know. Our low self-esteem registers differently, because I know some real thick chicks built like box Chevys that got confidence out of this world. You know what I'm saying? So
I'm one of them.
You not built like a box Chevy. Cut it out. And you not big. You know what I'm talking about when I say the big girls with the little legs.
I don't think they're ready
and the flat booties. You know what I'm saying? The girls built like what do you call it? You ever seen Trolls?
Yeah.
The little girl in Trolls. I'm talking about the girl he's built like that. Okay, well. With confidence out of this world. Okay. But, so he may have had some insecurities that made him overlook some of the things. But you're right. A quick Google search. And I'm pretty sure, let's be real. When you're that level of personality, meaning you have that reputation of being a nationally, probably internationally noted celebrity, mm-hmm. There was somebody in his camp was like, yo, bro, not her. You know what I'm saying?
You would think.
and she probably got a fire game, you know? And so he was just kind of like, shoot, I'm in, you know? And so
that's why you know what Granny used to say in situations like that?
What?
Get what you get and don't throw a fit.
Hey, get what you get and don't throw okay. Hey, my mama used to say, you made that bed, get comfortable in it, okay?
Okay.
Say
now he's all embarrassed. He done put out a statement and all that. You all embarrassed when this, this would have saved you embarrassment had you did your due diligence.
Had you just walked away, even if it was 5-5,
and
you know?
Too.
But that makes me think about step parent obligation, right?
Okay.
My one and only husband was a step parent to my sons, right? Mm-hmm. And he was willing to take on all that comes with it. My red flags and all, but he stepped up.
Now, were the other kids were the dads in their life though?
No, well, one.
Okay.
Yes, one. But he pretty much laid it out on the line. I'm not in competition with you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I am support, but your son will not disrespect me, you know? Mm-hmm. So he pretty much, and then he had my full support to say, no, we're not going to let him disrespect. And if he's willing to disrespect, you can go ahead and become full-time dad. And of course, he didn't want that, you know?
They never did.
Yeah. No, he didn't want that. He was like, okay.
You better listen to him.
Man, I'm just gonna sit back and shut up. But if he do too much, then you still not gonna do nothing.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what type of woman you think I am. I'm not gonna let nobody beat on my kids, but there will be discipline in this house. If he says do, you better do, as long as it's within parameters. But see, that's my mentality. My thing is the obligation of Big Tigger. If you haven't seen that first baby from the first time, and we don't know what game was spit in his ear, we don't know his self-esteem level. To me, is pretty low, right? For you to get finessed the way you get finessed by the girl who leaves her baby in a car for 8 hours. You pretty much got finessed, my boy. You walked into a finesse situation. Like, your self-esteem has got to be trash for you to allow this girl who endangered her child, and then you give her a baby. Like, you put a baby in her, and she dogged her own child, bro. Okay,
Come on. As a step parent, though, I'm gonna be real honest, and I hate to jump in on this because I'm gonna let you talk, Taylor. I'm gonna let you talk, Taylor. Okay, but,
okay, Kanye, go for it. You little mama of me.
As a step parent, if you come into a situation with your partner and they don't have access to one of their kids,
one or all,
I don't care.
Just one. You should walk away. That's the obligation.
Is that not a red flag?
That is the biggest red flag.
And you want to have a kid with her,
and you give her a baby, or you give him a baby. Like, what is the obligation as a step parent, Montana? What, in your opinion? And I wish Tori was here. I wish I could call Tori and be like, Tori, jump on the mic. Tori is my ex-husband.
Can call. We do have a number. You guys
I know. I don't have my phone to even text him. I would text Tori. We might have to pick this topic up again because we're going to continue to watch this case.
Yeah.
But Tori jumped in as stepdad. His parents did not like it. They were like, go find you a girl, because Tori didn't have kids. Go find you a girl and start your own family. I felt that way too, But he jumped in, was like, no, I want her. And baby, I was a walking bouquet of red flags. He jumped in and he was like, I'm going to be their dad. Obligation. You know what I'm saying? He jumped in, but I had both of my sons, and he saw that I was in college. I had a business. I was doing all of these things, and I was taking care of my sons. He came in and was like, let me help you lift that load. But like Montana said, babe, one of your kids is missing. Matter of fact, one of you and one of your children made national news, right? You can't just jump into a situation willingly knowing that, hey, where's this baby? And it's not with the dad, because the dad is incarcerated and is not with his parents. Like, what's your level of obligation? Not to, oh, she's this, or oh, he's that. It ain't got nothing to do. That's the adage, Montana, that we always say about these girls going behind different dudes with different baby daddies, baby mamas. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Let's take the Stephon Diggs and Cardi B situation. or even Cardi B with the Offset, all of these different baby mamas, and you lock in and you add to his growing list of children, the Nick Cannon, you know what I'm saying? Mariah Carey said deuces. They keep asking her, could you and Nick possibly get back together? She be like, get back together with who? I'm not finna be a mama to all them babies, you know?
Right.
And so the obligation, like, where do we as people, when do we put the kids first? You know, in some sense, we're so focused on putting our kids first, our desires and our wants. If that girl has a whole missing baby, why would you give her another one? And she was sliding out of town to take his baby away from him. So you was finna have add to the Ghostbusters team.
Yeah.
2 missing babies, 2 babies in the wind. You know what I'm saying? And it's just one of those things, like, come on. So Montana, in your opinion, you're not a stepmom, but, you know, what is your thoughts about obligations as step parents or people that enter relationships with people who have children? What do you think their obligation is?
Well, yeah, I don't know if I'm a good person to answer this, but one of my kids does have a step parent. Mm-hmm. My husband is her stepdad. And I think, as far as I'm concerned, the role of a step parent is to be another parent to that kid, which is why, you know, for me, being another parent, like putting that kid first. Mm-hmm. You know, not the partner, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like I was saying, in that situation, you know, where he could have known where the kid was and he chose to look the other way. No. Because why is she not here? Because that, and also, you know, if there is something, this is my thing. And the old people say this: do things in decent and in order. Yes. Okay. And that's biblical. That is. Okay. So for me, I would not feel comfortable being in a union with someone with, you know, too much, like, that's too much. Let's get it straightened out. Let's go about it the right way. Yes. What do we need? Is she in foster care? You know, how do we get her out of foster? How can I adopt her? Whatever the reason, you know, maybe they took her kid from her and she could never get that baby back, you know, and she was just biding time. Okay, well, she needs to be on the friend list. You feel me? Right. She needs to be on the friend list because there's somebody missing in this family. I don't want your child resenting me, right, for taking care of her brothers and not taking care of her or making an effort, because we can't tell that child how to think regardless of the situation is presented in front of them, right? You can't make her understand why they stayed but she was gone. You know, we see that in movies all of the time and the books that we read, right, where these secret kids are angry at the world because their parent chose to be involved with their other siblings and not them, you know? Mm-hmm. So we can't tell somebody how to feel. And for me, Big Tigger, just, I don't know, it really, like, men have self-esteem issues too, just as bad as women, but we're so focused on trying to build the woman up that we forget that men need to be built up too. And somebody in his life, and maybe somebody did try to tell him, yo, dude, you going down the wrong path with this girl. Maybe somebody like me or Montana would have been like, look at her, with our phones in his face. Bro, she left her baby in a car. What you think she gonna do with yours? Right. You know? And he probably was just like, man, I'm older, you know, I ain't been in this. You know, he probably had a litany of self-esteem things that he ran down internally to himself. You know, he this major celebrity, you know what I'm saying? But he ain't never been on GQ, you know? So it could just be a plethora of things that made him kind of really feel like he had to, and I'm going to say this, and it's probably going to sound bad, settle. Like, after Tori and I divorced, my sons have never had another stepdad. Because I saw what the mental toll it took on them. You know what I'm saying? And I tried to tell my sons, don't play stepdad to nobody's child unless you're really ready to commit. Fully understand that if you walk away from that relationship, you're walking away from that child too. That's the obligation. Like Montana, like I have said, the obligation to the relationship is that you're going to put those kids in the place of being your child too. You know, and for a period of time, they are going to have to come first, especially if you get involved into their lives when they're babies, right?
And so that's the burden. And I know some women be like, well, what about me? What about me? And some men, if they're single dads or just, have their kids part time, like, what about me? I'm not saying don't choose love. I'm saying understand what that comes with if you have a child, right? You have to understand that has to be positioned in their relationship where they matter. Your obligation when you come into a relationship with somebody with children is that that child matters too. When I divorced my husband, I did not think about their feelings, because I was like, they're my children, right? And so I didn't think about their feelings, and my sons had different responses because my oldest, his dad was very involved. My youngest took a very difficult path, if you will, with the lessons that he found himself involved in because he was a daddy's boy. And so when that relationship dissolved at my request, at my desire, then he went through some challenges and some changes that is likened to if they were for Tori and I together, and so as if he was Tori's biological child, and Tori do still consider him his biological child. But my children never had another stepdad because I saw the emotional toll that it took on them being in that situation, losing that parent, because we were together for a while. And so, can you imagine how many times that girl had been married? 3 times? Or she just had 3 daddies?
I don't know if she was married.
Okay. She just had been in 3 relationships to produce 3 children. Okay. Or maybe, we don't know, or whatever.
Yeah,
and I'm not trying
know.
to scandalize her by a long shot, short shot, or short shot, right? I'm just saying that has, especially little boys seeing their moms, little girls have a different set of emotions. Little boys seeing, I'm a boy mom, so I can only speak from being a boy mom. Little boys, when they see their moms jumping from guy to guy, that really does something to them emotionally, right? That makes him sometimes devalue women, devalue his desire to be in a monogamous relationship or a serious relationship. And I can only imagine if that little girl had been present in that, involved in her life, And I feel so sorry for the young lady in all of this. I feel sorry for the children in all of this, And one of the things that Montana and I had talked about was the scuffle. Do you call it a scuffle or do you call it a fight?
I don't even know if I call it a scuffle. But
a phone yanking situation.
I don't know what that was. Because honestly, he really wasn't doing.
He wasn't trying to hurt her.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't. He wasn't. It was a lot of debate about, from people saying it didn't look like a fight at all. But clearly something was in that phone and he wanted it back.
He wanted it back. Some people are speculating it was cheating. Some people speculate it was the whereabouts of the girl.
Right, yeah.
But I feel like at the end of the day, it's his right to want his phone. You know what I'm saying? We don't know the restrictions that they have in their relationship. We don't know if she was willing to give her phone so freely to him,
Yeah.
Because sometimes people do tit for tat. Maybe he reached for her phone one day and she clocked his behind, and she went off or she acted a fool. You know what I'm saying? And maybe he was just giving her just desserts. We don't know. I hate when, these think pieces come about from, momentary clips and we're not immediately involved in a situation. And most little boys, when they see somebody getting aggressive with their mommies, they are going to side with their mommies, So it is what it is. That's most little boys. Like, if you even look at me the wrong way in front of my 30 and 26-year-old, I can assure you, they are going to be ready to flip the world upside down behind their mama,
Right. As they should.
And I could be the one who started. But guess what? They are going to ride or die for their mama. Hopefully never die.
I don't like those situations.
But no, I don't like it either. That's why I don't put my kids in that.
Exactly.
No.
I do not like
I
that.
cannot stand when women put themselves into precarious situations. They get mad. You know what I'm saying? Like, people out here losing they ish. They really are. And for you a young lady just told me a situation she had with an Uber driver. Montana, when I tell you this woman was 1,000% wrong in this situation, and she tried to convince me through telling the story several different ways that she wasn't wrong. And I was like, babe, but you were. Your first instance of wrong is when you close the door and he says something slick to you. Your first thing you did wrong was continue with that ride. You know what I'm saying? You should have got out.
Yeah.
Immediately contacted Uber and got out.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have anything else to talk. And it escalated from there with him to where the police was almost called. That's how aggressive he got. And you kept going. But this need to just always have this my way or the highway last word type of deal. Let me tell you, when you get over 45, y'all will learn, and Montana knows, peace is sometimes, my peace is so valuable. I refuse to give up my peace. And Big Tigger is 53. Babe, you have unearthed your entire peace. If you had it, because we don't know, celebrity looking for these gigs. He was once hot, now he's not, having to temporarily, didn't resign, right? He just kind of took a sabbatical.
Yeah, he took a break and wanted people to stop talking about him.
Yeah, too late. Because I don't get involved in celebrity stuff, but here I am talking about it. And my reason is because it's just a real question as a step parent. How obligated are you? And y'all can put that in the comments. How obligated are you to those step kids? Are you there for the parent? Are you there for the children? Are you there for the entire experience? And if you are there for the entire experience, then great. And what was your vetting process? What is the vetting process with the relationship with the other parent if they're not deceased or, of course, in jail? And even if they are in jail, you do owe that parent the right to still try to let yourself be known. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's just one of those things. If there is a living parent around and because you never know, sometimes and I'm doing this, deadbeat or absent parent. And when I say absent, not in the household, absent parent they may be hell. I tell people all the time, I have a cousin with 8 baby daddies. Only one of the dads stepped up and took his child through court order because he knew my cousin was hot trash. And she still caused problems in that man's household from 2 states away from where he lived. Still caused problem whenever he had an opportunity to call and talk to their daughter. She still caused problems to the point the girl walked away from going to college on full scholarships to go live with her mama in destitution with her other 7 siblings until she had to see it for herself. After her father passed, she had to see it from herself live and living color. Like, yo, I really gave my daddy the blues behind this trifling, worthless heifer. Mm-hmm. And she didn't find that out until she was 24, 25, somewhere 23, 24, 25. Imagine her daddy doing everything he could to circumvent her living in squalor and destitution, the only life and it wasn't like my cousin grew up like that, because they didn't. My family owned land, properties, whatever. And so there was an opportunity for her to be cool, to be good. She chose it. But anyway, so even if the parent is not involved, not around, only time I can see extreme cases, and Montana, let me know if you agree. If the parent is deceased, right?
Cases for what?
Where the person that's coming, a step parent coming in, doesn't need to coordinate with the actual other parent, the absent parent, right?
Wait, you think that the step parent needs to coordinate with the parent that's not in the home?
When I say coordinate, I'm not talking about like you get them on Saturday, I get them on Sunday. No. And I'm not even saying ask for permission. I'm saying make the presence known, as in we good. Hear me out. Okay? I do have 2 fathers to my sons. One has never been around. One has always been around. My youngest father when he did find out that I was married, he came in kind of like on some humbuggish stuff. You know what I'm saying? Not that he was ever around. Tori was like, yeah, nah, fam, that's my son. You know what I'm saying? And so they didn't have exchange words or say anything. It was just, my presence is known. You can actually sign away your rights and let me have my son. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Of course, his dad didn't do that, but he let him know, I'm not going to try to weasel your way. You know, figure like, oh, yeah, I always liked you. What's up? Type stuff. Mm-hmm. Right? So Tori was like, nope, that's not going to happen. You know? Go on, you sign over them rights. You ain't here no way. She don't ever talk about you. He don't ever talk about you. And at that time, my son had never, you know, he had met his dad, of course, but he was a baby, you know?
Yeah.
And then he kind of dipped out and bounced and went back to where he's originally from, and he didn't try to have any contact until he kind of sniffed, you know, when you make those social media posts and they low-key lurking in the background. Mm-hmm. And then it was like, oh yeah, send me some pictures of my son, you know, because I did keep in contact with my son's godfather, who happens to be his friend. That was already determined when I was pregnant before I married Tori. And so they knew, so they was sending the pictures and, you know, kind of like that third party thing, like UPS, the delivery service. And so he was trying to be like, you know, what's up, girl? You know, we used to have fun together. And that's when my husband was like, well, ex-husband, he was like, nah, fam. Not around these parts, you know? So that's what I'm saying. That's what I am insinuating, you know? Now, if it's an abusive situation, of course not, because some dudes really be about their work, you know? Don't put yourself in threatening situation, a life-threatening situation, you know, or any altercations or anything like that. But the obligation is to the protection of the child, the happiness and well-being of the child. That's just my opinion. You're not coming in solely like, oh yeah, them her kids, you know, or them his kids. I don't really care. And I've seen that too with Nicholas, you know, where he's raising his daughter and the young ladies that try to get involved with him have no children. And they're like, oh, she's so cute. Oh, she's so great. But their agenda is to get a baby because they see him as this dad who is just being fantastic with his daughter, you know? So they're trying to give him another baby because they think he is just baby daddy glory, you know? And I just sit there and I'm like, well, what about the girl? Like, what about her? You know what I'm saying? So what are your thoughts, Montana? On that, on people like making themselves known, like, hey, let's, if possible. Now this is a if possible situation. If possible, you know, your husband is not going to let your daughter's dad come in and disturb his household at all, because that's his daughter. Mm-hmm. He's been there since she was what, like a baby or whatever, little bitty girl. He's not going to let her dad, whenever he decides, and neither is he going to stand in the way if she wants that relationship, you know? Right. We see it on social media all the time where these dads are raising these babies from birth or sometimes from infancy or whatever, however age. And then when they get older and it's graduation time or it's a special moment time, their bio dad comes in after playing the disappearing act their whole lives, come in, and these kids give their biological fathers 100% credit.
Yeah.
I think that's right. And the moms are usually standing 10 toes with their kids in their decision, like it's their dad. You know, that's wrong.
No, I'm not with that. You know what? Wrong. And it's kind of funny because we do have a topic going on our Instagram. So basically, I want to know, in a co-parenting situation, when is it okay for the parents to take photos?
When you say co-parenting situation, when is it okay for the parent to take
the biological parents?
The biological take parents with the child and no step parents involved.
Yes, like you, mom, dad, kid. We're gonna take family photos.
Why would they?
Is it so? It's never okay.
You can take pictures independently with your child and whoever you are with, if but why would I jump in the picture without my husband?
So again, let's say one of your sons, okay? Mm-hmm. So you're saying no, it's not okay for one of your sons and his dad to take a picture together.
We have, but I wasn't in any relationship.
So if you were in a relationship, would have been a no?
That's a no.
Okay.
No. I have taken pictures standing on side of my sons, both of their sons. I went to Chicago to take a picture, and I was in the picture, but I wasn't in a relationship. We weren't even looking to get into a relationship. It was just, okay, here go the parents, take this quick picture. But from the instances, and I know what you're talking about, from the instances that you're referring to, mm-hmm. they have been in committed relationships. You know what I'm saying? But okay. Let's say that we are, let's go back to the situation with the graduation, right? Mm. If I'm married and it's like, okay, something informal, yes. Something formal, no. Does that make sense? Like we're all at the graduation picture.
Maybe graduation and maybe wedding.
Yes, that makes sense.
Okay.
Informal, even though a wedding is a formal event, it's not let's go to JCPenney's and you grab my ankles while we do the wheelbarrow,
Okay.
So those instances where we're just like, let's take a quick picture with my parents. Come on. But you better believe in the immediate next picture, we grabbing that stepdaddy.
Okay.
I wouldn't even be comfortable. I would just always like, come on, Tori, and let Tori say, well, no, y'all go ahead and take that picture. I would want to get recognition or, even, and I'm doing air quotes because I know people hate this, even permission. You know what I'm saying? Is it cool if we take a picture together? Like, I wouldn't want to disrupt my house for a damn picture. Mm-hmm. I'm not willing to disrupt my household so this kid can have this memory. Now, you can have this memory with me, you, your dad, his wife, and my husband in the picture, and you can cut whoever you want out this picture. But I'm not willing.
Y'all might try to take the picture where I can't cut nobody out.
Hey, that's all. Hey, you're going to have to figure it out. Your picture going to be a little wiggly and squiggly. But, I just, I think it's just always important.
So if the kid says, I want a picture with my mama and my daddy.
Okay, then I'm going to look at my husband and I'm be like, babe, come on. You know what I'm saying? And if he say, well, no.
The kid is like, no, mama, I want it with you and daddy, not him.
Guess what? People in hell want ice water.
So if your kids say, I want it with you and my daddy, not with Fred, and you're just going to be like, well, I'm not going to take a picture with you.
And if he's still calling him Fred.
Okay.
So then we had issues prior to that picture.
So, funny thing, my daughter does not call her stepdad dad.
Have she ever called him stepdad?
Never. Dad? Well, let me tell you what the situation was. So she does not call him dad, but when she's talking about him to someone, that's what she says. Mm-hmm. But I will tell you, when she was about 7 or 8 years old, mm-hmm. Her biological donor called her.
She said biological
donor. And he asked her what she was doing that day. It was like on a weekend. It was a Saturday. Mm-hmm. And she said, oh, me and my dad are going da-da-da-da-da.
So he interfered.
So this
a-hole.
Okay.
Well, look, go ahead and say it. I'm a bleep.
No, yeah, you can't bleep this, baby. But he gonna say, well, if that's your daddy, why am I paying child support?
Yeah. See, it's stuff like that's where the obligation conversation come from. You know what I'm saying? That's where the introduction conversation, before y'all ever get down that aisle, before y'all ever get serious, these are the questions that need to be vetted. This is the stuff that Big Tigger may and may not have done, because you don't walk into a situation knowingly. He was good. I'm pretty sure your husband was like, yeah, that's my baby. And he still do consider her that's his baby. You know what I'm saying? But I know that probably took some wind out of his chest. When she came back, not addressing him as dad after she had done so, knowing that this dude is the cause. But he has to also put up his, throw his hands up and be like, how far can I really take this? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And, my oldest son's dad tried something a little similar to that. Not all the way, because I shut it down immediately. You hear me? Immediately. Because who house you think you running? And so he what did he call him? I don't know. I think he called him Mr. and then his first name, Mr. such and such, and it took the wind out of Tori sales too, because Tori was like, that's different, and that's, I immediately called him because he was like, that's my son. Yeah, he had puffed up, but I also put the fear of God in him. You feel me? And I was like, you will never get an opportunity. And then we divorced, and okay, so that name stuck, it became whatever. Nick still calls him dad, because that's just by default. He refused to call his biological dad, and that's what it is. He earned that not dad title, right? And so I just think that those are conversations like, how involved is he? How involved is she? Are they going to be a problem? We may not see that it's going to be a problem because we're probably looking from the perspective of a relationship that ended, right? But some dudes be like, yeah, the relationship ended, or some women like, yeah, the relationship ended, but that's still my baby, and I'm here for the baby, and or I still love you, and they want to cause confusion or whatever. But the obligation, he still maintained the obligation to your daughter though, didn't he? Y'all daughter, didn't he?
Who?
Your husband.
Oh, absolutely.
Exactly. And there you have it.
Absolutely.
Because some step parents, when you take away that title for them, especially if they don't have children, then they completely change.
Oh no.
They start to be like, well, that ain't okay. Well, I'm not your dad. I'm not your mom. So it is what it is. And those are conversations that I think that if people are a little slower to become intimate in their relationships, or a little slower to do introductions to their children and things of that nature. It took Tori 6 months to meet my sons. Tori did not meet my sons for 6 months. He started thinking that I was lying about having children because he never met my sons. And if he did, he didn't think my oldest was mine, because my oldest was in school. They have an age gap. And so Nick was at daycare or whatever. So he was always like, yeah, you playing with me. You ain't got no kids. That little boy you be picking up be your little brother. Like he just flat out thought I was lying, because I was like, nope. And so I think that it's very important that we kind of take that, like, sometimes we got to slow down that desire, that fire and desire, and kind of think when we're trying to obligate ourselves to people with children, that we make sure that we're in it for the right reasons, and the understanding that there's another person involved, possibly more, but Big Tigger, like we've been saying, babe, there's a whole case, national case. This chick was trying to get her rent paid at the casino. Or was she working at the casino? 8 hours sound like a shift. Was she at work?
Was who at work?
With a girl at work, or was she just playing the slots?
She was playing the slots.
Baby. So she put in a shift. Like, there's no excuse. Whatever, I think it's self-esteem issues, whatever. I don't know Big Tigger. He was one of my favorites back in the day. Big Tigger was the dude I used to break my neck to watch his show, And so I don't have no ill sayings, but something triggered this man and made this man feel like this is the best he can get. And I'm pretty sure, because I know if he would have had a me or Montana on this team, baby, we would have been in that ear. You hear me? But I have homeboys like that who still go the way of the trollop, knowing that, hey, but sometimes that trollop got some head game and some, you know what I'm saying, some stuff that he ain't never had before, and so he is smitten with that one line between her legs, and ain't nothing we can say, and that may be it. She may have put something on. That man was like, whoo, So
man, you should be, again, he's 53.
He should old. Be, but how many dudes have we seen?
What are we doing?
Girl, how many dudes? They say that we get, dematerialized, dematized. But sometimes these dudes out here be getting whipped, and we done seen these dudes get put. And I'm a boy mom, so I'm speaking from being around men, being in the company of men. Two of my best friends from second grade and fifth grade have been dudes, and so I've seen my uncles, my brothers, because I have older brothers. I was raised with my brothers, my uncles, even my dad. I've seen what men allow women to get away with when they are smitten with the kitten, you know? So I've seen it, right? And so I know that's why I'm saying that he probably have some self-esteem issues. You know what I'm saying? He probably got to, like you said, 53. He probably got to the end like, dang, I'm 50 and I ain't got no kids. I'm 50, man, I got diabetes and I'm tired of these little young hoes. You know? He could have just been like, hey, the next little young hoe I get, I'm gonna marry her and I'm gonna make her give me a baby. That could have been, because sometimes they say dudes wait till they get in their 50s or get over 45, whatever, and then they want to run to the 20, 30-year-olds, because they need a nurse. You hear that saying, don't you? Well, them dudes that age be looking for a nurse, and she probably came in with her nurse's uniform and was like, hey, big Tigger.
That his age is not that far from
it's
our
not
age.
Girl, but we don't
ain't
understand.
No nurses.
Listen, we don't, but you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. Like, that's why I keep defaulting on he had to have some sort of self-esteem issue to ignore that this girl was not even present in one of her children. One child, like we've said, one child is enough.
That should have been a red flag.
That is a red flag, and you just put that on pause, bro. If we can't get her from the state, maybe she went into state care where she had her rights revoked, because that is a very extreme case, And so maybe she had her rights revoked, and that's why the child was taken and put into a foster care, maybe put up for adoption. Who knows? We don't know the outcome of that child because they tend to keep that stuff hidden. So maybe she couldn't get that baby back, And maybe the kidnapping charge was because that little girl was about to be taken away from her. And maybe that's why she crossed the state lines and was trying to hide that baby, Mm-hmm. So just think about it. If you do love your child, you feel like I was desperate for money. I went to the casino trying to win money. Time got away from me. The police got involved. CPS took my baby, and they was trying to take my baby. And before they tried to take my baby, I fled, and that's how I got that kidnapping charge. We don't know her mental capacity to make that decision. But for Big Tigger, all of that should have been like, and she kept that second baby and was like, I'm a great parent. I kept my second baby, But still, Big Tigger, that's one of them things where you be like, dang, Ma, that's sad. Let me go find a girl who, let me go find somebody who ain't got all these issues. You feel me? Yeah. Because she did the same. She took your baby across state lines. And I don't know the Georgia laws, right? If you can or cannot take a baby across state lines without permission of the parent. I think it is, because my brother's daughter got taken from him, and he could have filed charges against her mother, my niece's mother. So Georgia pretty much you can't take your child without parental consent to another state. But something along the lines of that, moving or whatever. I don't know the details of it, but yeah, so Big Tigger walked himself right into that heartbreak, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
12. You said they 12 years apart or 17? 16 years apart. He 53.
She's 37.
37 years old. She's old enough to know better, but young enough to still be a bird. So, yeah. So Tigger walked into that. So the step-parent obligation is, man, you got to go in thinking about them kids. I don't think, let's see, whenever I got into a relationship with the man, or a situationship or whatever with the man with kids, I was talking to a guy back in 2020. He had a son. He was so committed to his wife's or ex-wife's, ex-wife's. I called him his wife because they were still much involved, but he was so committed to his ex-wife's 4 children. And never mention his own son.
See, I don't like that.
Girl, I was gone 6 months. Remember when I told you 6 months? I was out. And I would tell him, I said, I wish you would because I was trying to put them together. I was like, hey, he knew where his son was. He was in North Carolina or South Carolina, one of those colleges. So he knew where his son was. He checked up on him on social media, but he never reached out to him. The boy looked just like him. Mm-hmm. And I was like, hey, why don't you go ahead and reach out to your son? Like, why don't y'all start making that relationship? He was like, nah, I'm good. And I was just like, that just was such a turnoff for me. And he wanted to have a relationship with my kids. And I was like, absolutely not. You cannot have a relationship with my children, because you don't even have a relationship with your son. So there's nothing you can teach my sons you know, because you abandoned your son, you know, your one and only child in this world. And he was like, well, her kids are his, talking about his ex-wife, your son, her kids are my kids, but they're not though. He would tell this lie to everybody who would listen, that he has 4 kids, never mentioning he had one biological child, right? And so, and then their kids became his grandkids, and it was disgusting. I was out in 6 months. I was like, yeah, I can't do this. This is not right. Because when I told him, I was like, hey, you need to, I wish you would put that much effort into having a relationship with your step kids as into your real kid, you know? And he got mad and we got into a big argument. But my thing is, like, your obligation is to your child. But he was like, well, I hate her mom. What does that have to do with your son? Well, I'm pretty sure she's corrupted her. Like, he always had a reason and an excuse, and it was just disgusting, you know. But there are some, and that woman that he was with that allowed him to not have a relationship with his sons while he pined over her kids, she's just as bad.
That part.
She's worse, because you have children. But that was our topic for today, y'all. Like I said, I came in rushing. I didn't do my usual grind your gears because
we could have.
We could have, but we, you know, that my grind your gears is hyper personal, right? Meaning that whoever the person that I would be talking about would immediately understand why I'm saying and who I'm talking about.
You know what they say though about podcasts, that art imitates life.
Art imitates life.
So sometimes, you know, we come in here, you know, now with some of these topics, and it's kind of hard to not, you know, be hyper whatever about things.
Gears ground.
Because
my eye was twitching when I walked in this mug. I threw my purse down. I was like, nah, I'm not gonna be here for a long time. Let's just go.
but you actually have been here for an hour.
I made it over I did not mean to do that. I wanted to stop right on time. I wanted to just do my little 45-minute bid. Girl. No, this topic was good. Montana brought this topic because she was like, Big Tigger girl, and I was like, who? She was like, Big Tigger, and I was like, yeah, what happened? Because I don't keep up with I'm literally on social media. I don't have Instagram. I only am on Facebook for our book club, and I'm on TikTok looking for the next book to send over to Montana to read. Like, that's my life. Anything celebrity gossip related, I'm scrolling past, you know. And I might watch some survival stuff because I like I'm not a survivalist, but I am a prepper, and so. Yeah, no, survivalists are a different caliber of people.
Naked and Afraid?
No, not Naked and Afraid. To me, that's a survivalist.
Okay.
I'm a prepper where I'm going to have extra stuff stored.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, and that also, my mama taught me that, you know. Okay, it's okay to buy more than one pack of toilet tissue. You know, sometimes you got to buy stuff for the month or maybe a month, 2-3 months, because you never know where your money going to be at. You know what I'm saying? You don't know. So you prepare for what you don't know. So that's a prepper. Survivalists are those people who be like, something's on the horizon. We got to get ready.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a survivalist. I'm not a survivalist. No, I cannot live in a perpetual state of what if, you know, that's not me. But y'all, that's today's show. You know, when you obligate yourself to a person, man or woman, who has children from a previous relationship, and you're coming into that relationship, come with the expectation and knowing that you also have to include that child and put that child first. We see too many instances of people harming and or killing people's children, right? Women not being aware that the man involved may just be a predator. Same thing, where women may be predators and they end up hurting and or assaulting to death these children. And so we have to be aware that the kids come first. It comes first from the parent, first and foremost. And then that person that's coming in, that step person, has to obligate themselves to understand that child comes first too, right? And so y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. You know, we're still trying to get those numbers up, so like, follow, share, and the after party on YouTube. And we still don't have our social media up. We still don't have any of that stuff, so contact me if you want to talk to me via social media on the after party. I took a social media break. It sounds crazy because I do have a podcast, but sometimes you need those mental breaks, and I was there for other ventures and endeavors that I had going full time. And so, yeah, but Again, sweetkittyclub.com. Please check out their website. That is our sponsor for our book club and what book we read. Y'all let us know in the comments if y'all are bookies, like we are bookies. And y'all have a great rest of your Sunday. And we'll see y'all in 2 weeks. Okay, we'll see y'all July 26th. I think that's the last Sunday of the month, the fourth Sunday of the month. Yeah. We will see y'all on July 26th. And thanks for riding with us here at Beyond the Niche podcast. I'm your host, Ivy.